So I decided to make this video. It is order blocks for dummies, or even supply and demand trading for dummies. If you are struggling to find those entries and don't understand the concept, keep watching this video to the end so you can see how simple this strategy is going to be. Now, all you're going to need for this strategy is times 2 time frames. So you're looking for 2 time frames when you're looking to take an entry. You're also going to have times 2 EMAs. Now that's only going to be on the setup chart. On this occasion, we're looking at the 1 hour time frame. Your entry time frame will be a 5-minute time frame, but we'll go through it in this video exactly how you're going to use order blocks for dummies, and of course using supply and demand trading for dummies. How simply it's going to allow you to look for that change of character. Now, if you haven't seen the video on the change of character, make sure you watch this video all the way through. You can watch that video at the end and you'll understand what the change of character is. These areas on the chart, you'll be able to look for a 5-minute entry with a change of character, and you'll be able to capture high risk to reward trades. So if this is something you are struggling with, keep watching to the end. So the first thing you'll need to do is to add a 20 and a 50 EMA to the charts. Now, this is not an EMA strategy. It's just to give you an added aid to find those swings. Now, when you're looking for a trend, you need a solid trend in the market. And we want to see a trend looking like this. We do not want to be trading in this sort of markets. It's too choppy and it's going to eat up your profits. So yes, we're either looking for this type of movement for a downtrend. And if we just go back in time, we'll come back to this area later on. If we go back in time, we can identify the markets are in a consolidation phase here on a higher time frame. And you can see where we keep crossing up and down through those EMAs. That is not a trend. We want to see a solid trend and looking like this. So we can see here where the market goes down, we break up, we pull back after we cross over, and we continue to make the swinging pattern in the market all the way up. We do make a manipulation here. We squeeze together on those areas on the EMAs. Now, I would not be taking a trade here. We'd be waiting for this trend to continue. This is where you'll be looking for a trade. So notice how price actually comes back to these 2 EMAs and we see a nice bounce each time. This is where we're going to be looking for our trade using this strategy. So with the 20 and the 50 EMA, these become what we call a dynamic area of support or resistance. Now, there is much more on these EMAs and how to apply EMAs with a dynamic area in the free courses you will find on the website. Now, if you want to get the free courses, there's one on a trend trading course and the other one is on the basics of supply and demand. Then check out down below in the description of this video, you will find the link to those courses. So let's now go through this strategy and how you'll actually use that change of character and this 2 time frame approach to find these high profitable trades. So yes, this is in hindsight, but go back test this and then forward test it as well, and you will find it will work well for you. So we're going to start from this low in the market and we're going to mark off each of these areas where we see price pulling back. So let's just go and mark each one off with a line. So we're going to mark each one an area where we see price pulling back. Now, we do pull back deeper in here, but we also pull to this area. So we'll look at both areas. Now, you will have losing trades. I'm not saying you're going to win every time. We pull back here, we pull back again, and we pull back in here once again. Now, there's a small pullback here. So we may just look at this area. There's a small push up in the market. And then finally, there is another nice pullback here. And there is a small pullback here. We'll have a look at this one as well. And the market here is the next pullback. So what we're going to look for is we're looking for that market to at least come back below this area on the 20. We want to see it at least passing through that area. And inside this area is that dynamic area where we're going to look for our trades. So we're going to start off from this area. We've got quite a few trades to go through in this video. So stay tuned. We'll go through each one and how you would look to trade them with that change of character. Now, we're not going to use the EMAs on any other time frame at the moment, just on this 1 hour. We'll go down to the 5-minute to look for that first entry. So let's mark off this first area where we'll be looking for a trade. So let's now go down to this area on the 5-minute time frame. So we're on that 5-minute time frame now. That first area we see that pullback. Now this is just price on the chart. What we're looking for is a change in character. And again, like I said, at the end of this video, you can watch that video, understand it in more detail on the change of character. Let's zoom in onto this area. And what we're looking for is an area where we see the market pushing down. We'll keep marking off these lower highs. You can see we keep having these lower highs until we see it break to the upside. So we can see this move here from this low breaks this high of this candle with this bullish candle to the upside. Once we see this, we're going to mark out our area of an order block. Now this is why it's order blocks for dummies. It's a simple strategy. So you'll be marking out this order block from the high to the low of this move on this candle. And you can see that the market actually comes back in, test it, and we rally away. Now again, if you was using an area of supply or demand, this will be a demand zone. We're marking this from the open price of this candle to the low. And you can witness that the price does not come back into that zone. But you could have used this as a next area when we break structure once again here on this bullish candle, and we do pull back and we have a nice trade. Now, of course, if you want to take your trading to the next step, I do suggest checking out the FOREX Masterclass, and the link for that is below in the description of this video. So as you can see on either of these entries here we went through, you caught a nice trade to the upside. And if we go back, you'll see how far this trade can actually go. This is the sort of risk to rewards you'll be able to achieve. So we marked off this candlestick here. There's our order block area, and we can see the market comes back in and look at all that profit. This is a massive risk to reward area. Now you can actually look at trading something like this, understanding that the use of the 1 hour time frame and there's 2 EMAs, the trend is continuing to go bullish. So there's that first entry. Let's continue forward to look for the next area. So there's our next area. We see price pulling back. So we can see that we go deeper here. We then have price rallies up. We have this bullish candle here breaks out. Now looking at these last areas, this would be my area of demand. I'll be marking for an entry. Price does pull back in. We do rally up. And there is a way that I teach inside the FOREX Masterclass how to eliminate risk as quickly as possible. Now, as you can see, price does go lower and breaks this low, but there is a way where you would have a break-even trade here. So this trade actually fails. Then we go lower to this area. And again, we can mark off this low. Price doesn't go any lower than this low, and we can mark off these highs. This bullish candle right here is what actually breaks those highs. And if we mark out this area, we can identify right here, we have an area of imbalance where price comes back into, and you could have caught your trade. Now this isn't about imbalances on this video, it's more about the use of the order blocks and obviously supply and demand. So what we should be looking at here is our last area of an order block area, this zone here. Now price doesn't come back, but remember, once you understand the use of structure in the market, we're looking for the change of character here. And what we're looking for is then going to be price breaking these highs. And as we continue to break higher, this is where you can then draw out a new area of demand and of course your order block. And price comes back in and we rally away. So if you miss the first entry, don't be afraid after you see a break of structure to look for your next area of an order block or an area of a supply or demand. And look again, look at the power of that move to the upside. So even if you had a loss here and you caught this trade, this is how you create those high risk rewards. Let's go to the next one. So again, we see price pulling back. Now remember, every time we see price pulling back, this area on the chart is coming back inside those EMAs. That's why we're using those on the 1 hour time frame. So when we pull back here, let's get a line once again. We can see that we have these lows in the market. We break out with this little bullish candle. This allows me to then draw out this area here of an order block and an area of demand. And price comes back in on a couple of occasions and then we rally away. Again, no loss on that trade. and you can easily been risk-free on this trade. Continue to go forward. Look at the power of this. Again, we see a small pullback to this area. Now the change of character, what we're looking for is that break of structure. We make this low, we break out of this high we're looking for. So let's mark this off again. Let's mark it off of a level. There's your high. This one small bullish candle breaks out with the wick. That is a break for me. As long as it's a bullish candle, we draw out this area of demand and this area on an order block we'd have here. This high here, the same place actually as an area of demand. But we see price pulling back in and we rally away. Again, a nice profit. Now price does actually come back once again. And we have this next area. Again, understanding this use of the change of character on the lower time frame. We drop in, you're looking for the breakout of this high. Price then comes lower and then we see the breakout right here. So we move sideways, we break out, we leave this area here we can draw. Price does not come back and rallies away. So we miss this opportunity. But look, price then comes back once again. And we see price breaking above on this bullish candle at this high. Now we can mark off this area here of demand and we have an order block. And you can see what happens. Price comes back in and a strong push higher. Then once again we have another pullback. Remember, all these areas we're seeing, these lines where we saw price come back to that 20 and 50 EMA. Comes back to this area here. Now on this occasion we can identify that price, we just get this line, breaks this structure here in the market, and then we'll be drawing out most probably this area here. We come back in, we have these two small candles. Now you may have even drawn it like this, you may have even had a loss here, and the market does go lower. Now I'm not sure this line was actually supposed to be for this area or for this low here in the market, but we can see that we do have a breakout. There's a gap here for some reason. We do break out on this bullish candle, and again, if you're marking from the low or you're going to mark it from the last bearish candle, there's my area of demand. I would mark, price does come back in and we rally up with that gap. Now it depends where you're looking to market, but as the market broke out with this small bullish candle, you can look to market off this last candle here, and I'll go off this low, and even that area we don't go below that area where your stop loss would be. Again, we see price pulling back. Let's go to the next area where you see the pullback, and this then becomes your low, and eventually price breaks out with this bullish candle. Now looking at this area, I was probably marking this as my zone. Price does not come back for an entry. We then break out once again, and again you see price continues away, but we don't actually get that entry. So that'll be the last entry we're looking for on that uptrend. We zoom out, we'll be able to see where all these trades were. So in all these trades you could have caught on that uptrend, and imagine all the different pairs you can go through and scan to look for that trend using the 20 and the 50 EMA to quickly find a good solid trend. Then you're looking for that retracement to come back to those EMAs, and then you're going down to the 5-minute time frame looking for that change of character and using the order blocks made for dummies. Now obviously using supply and demand made for dummies. It's simple once you have this in mind. Stick with the same thing over and over again. So now looking back, let's go to the 1 hour quickly, and just want to remove everything here. And we're going to go at this area now quickly on the chart, and then we'll be wrapping this video up. It's been going quite for some time. We can see that the market comes back on these couple areas. These areas will be breaking out, so we wouldn't be looking at those on the lower time frame. You may be watching it. So let's just mark it off. It's not an entry you want to see. You don't want to see it going past that 50 EMA. And again, we have an entry here. So we'll go down now to the 5-minute time frame again, and we'll quickly go over these areas. Again, we're looking for that change of character. So let's use a line. We see the market making this high. We drop down, and we're going to mark this out. So we break down, leaving this area of an order block, and we see the market comes back in and we drop away. So now looking at this area on the chart where we see the market dropping down, pulls back, drops down. Now we break this low and this low. Now you do have this area here you can draw as your order block. Now that gets taken out, but as an area of supply and demand, you can also have this zone here where the market does come back up into, we see the drop away. That's understanding this area here of a previous demand zone, which is broken right here, and we pull back this area of supply, and understanding where we have a pullback. Now all of this you can learn in much more detail through that masterclass course. You'll learn so much more inside there than you will on these videos, but again, this video is to help you still have a simple working strategy. Again, you're not going to win every trade, so you may have had a loss here using this zone. So once again, we're going to look at our next area. Where was the next area? This is our final area we're going to look at. And we're looking for that change of character. We make a new higher low, we make a new high, and eventually we break to the downside right here. We'll then be drawing out this as our zone. We can see the market comes back. We have a consolidation on a 1 minute time frame. We break out, pull back, and we continue to fall away. And look at the move down once you're in that trade. And then we do have this area here. I think this must be the final one we're looking at. And again, this is a low, price goes up, makes this one. We do break out, but unfortunately price never comes back to this area here, which is our area on an order block or an area of supply. But we do continue to break. If you look here, we can now draw out this area and we break this low, continue to fall, pull back, break down once again. And we have a next order block or area of supply. And you can see you can keep catching these trades as we fall down. So if you miss that first entry or you don't see that pullback, but you see the continuation of breaking of structure, then that is then still an opportunity for you to capture a trade in the market. That is the last one we're looking at. Go back to the 1 hours. Remember the strategy. You're looking to apply the use of these two EMAs just to find where price is pulling back to them. Once we come back inside that 20 and the 50 EMA zone, which is where we're going to class as a dynamic area. Once we're inside that area, we're then going to be looking for going down to the 5 minute time frame with that change of character. And don't forget that video is coming up in a moment for you to watch. Then you'll be applying the use of order blocks for dummies, as you've seen in this video, or the use of supply and demand for dummies, as you've seen how I've gone through showing you those zones, where you mark them out, and how you would look for that change of character for your entry. Now, of course, as usual, if you have any questions on this strategy, leave them below. And if you've enjoyed this video today, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It helps me to know you are liking this type of content. And popping up right now is that video I mentioned, which is on the change of character, which will help you to actually see how I've done this entry on the 5 minute time frame and allow you to capture these sorts of trades for yourself.